Since Kaguya has ran back to Sasa Sanctuary for finding her own identity, Amy and Isshin have no choice but to follow her and go back to Sasa Sanctuary. When Amy and Isshin pass by Rao's place, she doesn't seem too much of a surprise or excited with the green mist has gone. Still, she mentions about the fox rod. After leaving Rao's place, Amy and Isshin went out to the outer part of Sean City, found out the city is finally free from the green mist and has returned back to normal. But with Isshin's advice, Amy and Isshin decided to go back to Sasa Sanctuary to find Kaguya. Once Amy and Isshin got back to Sasa Sanctuary, they quickly rushed to the bamboo grove, saw Mr. Bamboo and Kaguya are talking to each other. After witnessing some happy reunion between Mr. Bamboo and Kaguya, Kaguya also reveals that she would have departed without Mr. Bamboo. As Mr. Bamboo is confused where Kaguya would go, Kaguya told Mr. Bamboo the royal crest is summoning her and soon Kaguya is using her power to poof up a deep hole. Since there is an invisible force is calling Kaguya without any hesitation and want to know more about her past, Kaguya jumps in to find the source. Worried by Kaguya's actions, Amy and Isshin quickly jump in as well to help Kaguya. After helping Kaguya for digging the source, a light appears along with the disappearance of the royal crest. Soon, a giant bamboo rocket emerged from the ground. Kaguya told everyone about the calling from Bamboo Rocket and the link to Kaguya's past. With Mr. Bamboo's sadness, he managed to hold it and talk about Kaguya's past. He told Kaguya that he knew the Bamboo Rocket all along, how he found her inside the rocket. His departed wife managed to save Kaguya, having Kaguya as a lovely grandkid, keep the bamboo rocket as a secret so Kaguya won't find it, and hope Kaguya would stay with Mr. Bamboo. Even though Kaguya think about Mr. Bamboo and his wife as real family, but she has to go back and discover where she came from. As the remembrance of the last moment for Kaguya and Mr. Bamboo, they have a final hug. To thank Amy and Isshin's help, Kaguya gave them the fire tablet as a reward since she doesn't need it anymore. With all that being said, Kaguya get into the bamboo rocket and shoot straight to the night sky. After some conversation with Mr. Bamboo, Amy and Isshin rush back to Seon City and directly go to Queen Himiko's palace. Unfortunately, the guards still don't allow Amy and Isshin get into the palace even the green mist has gone. Well, with Amy's brush, they able to slip into the palace without notice. Once Amy and Isshin are inside the palace, the handmaiden saw them, gave some hints about Queen Himiko has foreseen their arrival and the fire tablet for them to get across the lava. Up the elevator goes, Amy and Isshin went into a huge place that is full of lava. Of course, with the help of the fire tablet, Amy and Isshin able to get across the lava, a long corridor, and finally to see Queen Himiko herself. At first, Amy and Isshin are furious about Queen Himiko's doing, but then Queen Himiko calmly said Amy and Isshin's name, made them curious about how she knows them. Soon, Queen Himiko started to cry about her people, but Isshin doesn't buy it and asks to reveal herself. When Queen Himiko raises the curtains and slowly reveals herself, Isshin eek and fell down with hearts. Meanwhile, Queen Himiko explains that she needs to pray to get rid of the curse from Oni Island, change locations at each sundown, and have difficulties to dispatch armies to defeat Oni Island. While Isshin asked Queen Himiko about why locking herself up in the palace, she immediately let the crystal ball float above her, explains it has passed down through generations, able to use the crystal ball to foresee the future, and able to locate where the Oni Island will appear next. Since exposing Oni Island is dangerous for Queen Himiko, so she had to lock herself up in the palace to keep herself safe from the enemies. When Isshin wants to get closer to Queen Himiko, he got zapped by the crystal ball's barrier, where Queen Himiko also explains that the barrier able to prevent enemies' attack, so it will keep her safe from harm. To get more information from Queen Himiko, Emi and Isshin continue to listen to her about the sudden enrage from Water Dragon, the danger of slaying Water Dragon, impossible to reach Oni Island without Water Dragon because the barrier around Oni Island is only breakable by it. In the same time, it also can be a bridge to get to the location. However, the Water Dragon is still dangerous to approach, so Queen Himiko is asking for Amy's help to calm down the Water Dragon. Since Queen Himiko can't leave the palace, Amy agrees to her request and she gave them the border key for reaching another part of Ryoshima coast. Before Amy and Isshin continue their journey, Queen Himiko gave a last hint about the place where the dragon race live, hope would be helpful for them. As soon as Amy and Isshin got all the information from Queen Himiko, they quickly rushed to the gate with 2 guards, talked to them, and able to get past to North Ryoshima coast. Once Amy and Isshin are there, Waka suddenly appears and have chit-chat with them about the clean Seian city, the North Ryoshima coast, some hints about Isshin, surprisingly no prophecy, and finally shimmers away. Continue to find more things around North Ryoshima coast, Amy and Isshin explore around the place. Fight enemy, feed more animals, open chests, more cat statues, talk to the cat-like waitress and chef, and some more things that you can find around seaside. While looking around the sandy seaside, they found a group of kids are bullying another kid named Urashima. To help Urashima, Amy and Isshin quickly rush in, but in the same time they heard Urashima is talking about Orca, the emissary of the Dragon Palace, only let the worthy ride on his back to go to the palace. After shooing the bullies away from Urashima, Amy and Isshin try to talk to him and make sure if he is okay, but instead he is sleeping, so Amy gave him a headbutt, and Urashima slowly wake up, introduce himself, and stated that he is safe and healthy. Of course, Isshin doesn't want to waste the opportunity and asks Urashima about the hints that he mentioned before that is related to the Dragon Palace. So Urashima told Emi and Isshin about the things that he knew from the Dragon Palace, how Orca the emissary chooses the worthy ones, and where to find Orca when the morning sun appears. Based on what Urashima just mentioned before, Amy and Isshin went to the pier, draw a morning sun, and just like Urashima said, Orca appears when morning comes. Suddenly, Urashima burst into happiness when he saw Orca, glad Orca is here, and want to have a trip to the Dragon Palace. So Orca, introduced as the emissary, would like to give Emi and Isshin a ride to the Dragon Palace, and even proud to say Orca can swim faster than the Water Dragon. After riding on Orca, Isshin did ask Orca to go undersea for the journey to the Dragon Palace. Unfortunately, the whirlpool isn't available for Orca is because to keep out the enemies, so in order to find one, Emi and Isshin have no choice but to look around to explore the sea region in North Ryoshima coast. While looking around the sea, suddenly Emi and Isshin stumble upon a high tower with the sound of cat meowing. To look for more clues, they decided to stop by and explore the place. When they have arrived at the cat-called tower, they saw a bright golden path in front of them, It also hints about the celestial brush might be above the tower. After having a fight with an enemy, Emi and Isshin climb up the high tower, arrive at the top of the tower, and saw a cat meowing for food. So Emi and Isshin gave the cat some fish food, and soon the shimmering light shining upon the sky, with Amy's brush, Kabekami, appears and have some fun time with Amy. With climbing wall's power, Amy able to climb the wall without problem and saw a huge giant cat statue at the top of the tower. By using the mermaid spring, Amy and Isshin able to go back to Ryoshima Coast, climb up to the Watcher's Cape, got some hints from the Watcher about whirlpool galaxy at night, turn day to nighttime, and make a shooting star for the Watcher to make a wish. Suddenly, a star galaxy appears. With some hints from Isshin, Amy drew some wind brush to spin the star galaxy, and finally, the huge whirlpool appears in the sea. As soon as the huge whirlpool appears, Amy and Isshin rush back to the pier, have a ride on Orca, swim towards the huge whirlpool, and arrive in the Dragon Palace. When Amy and Isshin want to get into the Dragon Palace, two guards appear from the other side and try to stop them from getting in. Since Isshin stated the name of Queen Himiko, two guards realize the situation and allow them to be in the palace. Once Amy and Isshin arrive at the throne room, they're able to talk to Otohime, the leader of the Dragonians. At first, Isshin wants to know about the reasons why the water dragon is enraged and sending Orca to get them from the land. But then Otohime explains 1 month ago, there is an unknown evil dark power emerged from Oni Island, attack the Dragon Palace, even though they have sent armies to defend the palace, but the forces of darkness is too powerful. In order to keep the Dragon Palace safe, the Water Dragon tried to use all the strength to swipe the enemies away. But unfortunately, the Dark Lord uses its own power to attack the Water Dragon, made the Water Dragon wounded and end up in violent rage. Since then, the Water Dragon has caused the chaos around the sea, and Otohime hoped the rage can be calmed by Emi and Isshin. Meanwhile, Otohime knew they can't control the Water Dragon, but the only choice that they have is hope Emi and Isshin would go into Water Dragon's belly to retrieve the Dragon Orb, so Otohime will use the Dragon Orb's power to break the Oni Island's barrier. Of course, Amy agrees with the plan offered by Otohime, and she gave Emi and Isshin a shell amulet for them to get access to the Water Dragon's garden. After getting the shell amulet, Emi and Isshin went to the Water Dragon's garden and saw an enormous mouth is open wide within the hole. Well, to continue with their mission, Emi and Isshin jump right into the Water Dragon's mouth and begin their journey. Once Emi and Isshin are inside the dragon's body, they begin to explore around the place by fighting enemies and open big pink shells. When Emi and Isshin able to get the key and open the gate, they finally saw the dragon orb that is stick between the stomach muscle. So Emi tries to cut it down, but the stomach muscle is too strong for the cut power. Without any other choices, Emi and Isshin went out to find other solutions. Suddenly, they stumble upon the red liquid that is dropping from the top of the purple thing. While Isshin is hinting about the red liquid, Amy uses the water brush to guide the red liquid to pop the purple thing. Once it is popped, the red liquid poured in and flooded the area. So Amy uses lily pad brush to go back to the dragon orb, melt the stomach muscle by using the red liquid, and retrieve the dragon orb. When Emi and Isshin got in the dragon orb and going to leave the water dragon's body, suddenly the doors are sealed up by some evil forces. Soon the enemies appear and have a fight with them. After defeated the fox enemies, Emi and Isshin surprisingly able to retrieve the fox rod as well. As soon as Emi and Isshin retrieve the items from the water dragon, the area begins to crumble down. To avoid getting hurt from the red liquid, Emi and Isshin quickly escape from the water dragon's body within the time limit. In the nick of time, Emi and Isshin finally escaped from the water dragon's body and saw the water dragon slowly going down into the deep sea. Suddenly, a flickering light is shining from a distance, slowly approaching them, and the light turns into a wise dragon king, King Wada, the 27th king of the Dragonians. Soon, he explains the reason about his enrage around Ryoshima Coast. Since King Wada is the one can break Oni Island's barrier, so the Dark Lord decided to destroy King Wada to prevent him from breaking the barrier. But King Wada able to fend off against the Dark Lord and consume the Dark Instrument. Unfortunately, the Dark Instrument is too powerful for King Wada to suppress and made him become a violent water dragon roaming around Ryoshima Coast. In the end, King Wada is rest assured that the Dark Instrument is with Emi and Isshin. Also hope they can bring the Dragon Orb back to Otohime, King Wada's wife, for the sake of his people. With his last breath of prayers, King Wada slowly descends into the deep sea and rests in peace. Soon, the Dragon Orb teleports them back to the Dragon Palace, but suspiciously, Rao appears out of nowhere, kept asking the news about the Water Dragon and the secret of Oni Island. Without thinking too much, Isshin pulls out the fox rod and shows it to Rao. Of course, Rao is excited for it and really wants it back so badly, which is suspicious. For a second, Isshin started to think Rao is kind of odd with the eagerness of the fox rod, but instead, Emi just pulls it down and throws it to Rao. After Rao getting the fox rod from Emi, she just runs away without looking back. When the conversation is done, Emi and Isshin quickly run back to the throne room and give the Dragon Orb back to Otohime. In the same time, Otohime also confessed that the water dragon, King Wada, is Otohime's husband. She also knew about the fight with Dark Lord that caused King Wada transform into the water dragon to have a battle against the Dark Lord, and sacrifice himself in order to save the people from the Dragon Palace. With all that being said, Otohime asks if they have retrieved the Dark Instrument from the water dragon's body, but instead, Isshin mentioned they have given it to Rao. Suddenly, the Dragon Orb lights up, showed a glimpse of the scene where Rao is being attacked by an unknown evil entity. To save Rao, Emi and Isshin quickly rush to Ankoku Temple. In the blink of an eye, Emi and Isshin saw Rao is waving at them for going into the temple. By following her, they able to find a mysterious well behind the hidden wall. Without thinking too much, Emi and Isshin jump into the well, saw a familiar remaining sitting near the wall. Yes, you see it right, it is the real Rao. Going through a long tunnel and right back up to Queen Himiko Palace. While the bad feeling is getting worse, Emi and Isshin quickly rush to Queen Himiko's chamber, found out that Queen Himiko has passed away and the crystal orb is laying beside her. The sudden appearance of Rao also quickly raised up Emi's suspicion and ready to attack. Of course, the fake Rao finally reveals herself as Dark Lord, gulp the crystal orb and start to fight within Queen Himiko's chamber. After the intense fight, Dark Lord spits out the crystal orb, reveal the true form of Ninetales, and vanish from Queen Himiko's chamber. Soon, the narrator speaks again, talk about the evil had slipped away. Death of Queen Himiko led Emi and Isshin in sadness. The difficulties of finding Oni Island, the appearance of Queen Himiko within the crystal orb. Explanation of Queen Himiko became one with the crystal orb. Plan of using Dark Lord's power to find the location of Oni Island, and found out that Oni Island only appears during sunset at Watcher's Cape. Since Queen Himiko has used Dark Lord's power to find the location, she has sacrificed herself, and when the crystal orb bursts, Queen Himiko's soul slowly ascends to the heaven and wish Amy a safe journey. Once Amy and Isshin got the information, they quickly rushed to the Watcher's Cape, so Otohime is standing at the Watcher's Cape waiting for Amy and Isshin. With the Dragon Orb's help, Otohime able to transform into a water dragon, form a bridge, break the barrier, and let Amy and Isshin get across to Oni Island. Finally, Amy and Isshin have arrived at Oni Island, some exploration around the entrance, have a fight with enemies, found a key, opened a gate, and found a gatekeeper, Toby, who wants to have a race. Going through different kinds of race and maze, Amy and Isshin arrive at the area where a fierce tiger statue is stood high up, but with a missing arrow. So Amy uses restore power to draw an electric arrow, let the thunder-like arrow disperse the dark clouds, and reveal the shimmering stars around the night sky. With Amy's brush, Gekigami fiercely appears. After getting the thunder power, Amy and Isshin able to activate the mechanics, getting through the puzzles, maze, and went back to the main entrance to unlock the main gate. Again, getting through another different kind of higher levels of mechanics and puzzles, Amy and Isshin able to meet Toby again, have another race, have a fight with more enemies, defeated the blockhead, and finally have a final race with Toby. Even though Amy and Isshin have won the race, sadly, Toby had to say goodbye and turn into a pretty little flowers and vanish into thin air. Continue to the top of the castle, Amy and Isshin finally have arrived at the battleground. A howl from Amy reveals an ominous red moon and a constellation above the dark sky. Well, with Amy's brush, Ninetales appear, threaten Amy and Isshin, reveal the hint of Yami, and have a big battle with Ninetales. As soon as Ninetales is defeated, Amy able to obtain a new weapon, Blade of Kusanagi. Soon, another story being told by the narrator, with the determination of Amy for defeating Ninetales has finally avenged Queen Himiko's death. In the end, the fallen Ninetales also reveals the true form of an old fox. As the time passed by, Oni Island began to crumble into petals and flow away with the wind. Meanwhile, Otohime also returned to the Dragon Palace since she has fulfilled her role. Like the previous defeated enemies, an evil black mist rose up from Ninetales' body, together with Blight, slowly moved towards to the north side of the land. On the other hand, Ishun started to worry the journey would end where Amy will find the last remaining brush power, but the story is still far from over. Well, since Amy has won the battle, she lets out a victory howl for Queen Himiko's spirit. Once Amy and Ishun is returned back to Watcher's Cape, Waka suddenly appears in front of them, have another chit-chat about the defeat of Ninetales, some hints about thunder appears from north of Shinsu Field, the way of going to the north side, a mark on the map, and as usual, he just say goodbye and disappears in front of them. So, it seems like the north side of Nippon is the way that Amy and Ishun have to discover. What will they encounter next? What kind of adventure will they find at the north side? Stay tuned for more on the upcoming video. Thank you for watching and hope to see you all soon.